But I think that I deserve a second term, and I'm going to fight for that because we have made significant progress in a variety of areas. For example, homelessness was going up year after year, and under my watch, it is the first time we've had a decrease in street homelessness. While it went up in the country 18%, it came down in Los Angeles 17.5%. I have expedited the building of housing because our number one issue in this city is affordability. And one of the main drivers for affordability is housing.
We have a question from a student from the Harvard of the West, Loyola Marymount University. Your name, your major, and what year are you? And your question.
Good evening. My name is John Kasabian. I am a senior urban environmental studies major. My question for you is that Los Angeles remains one of the most unaffordable regions in the nation. If elected, what is one housing policy you would implement immediately or change?
Mayor, we'll start with you.
Yes, the housing policy that I did implement immediately after I declared a state of emergency around homelessness. I expedited the building. 42,000 units are being fast-tracked for affordable housing. We have another 43,000 units that are potential with our adaptive reuse, which means you can change office buildings into housing. We also changed the zoning codes, so we have the potential for another 500,000 units. I know that one of the primary drivers for the lack of affordability in our city is housing and making sure that people can afford to live here. So that is how I have focused on addressing the affordability issue. Now, there's a lot of other factors that come into affordability that we can't control, such as the price of gas or what is happening 3,000 miles away. But every single thing we can do, rent stabilization, reducing the price of rent, eviction prevention. I started the mayor's fund that allows us to do that.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilwoman.
Thank you for that question. This is one of the driving factors behind my candidacy and the work that I want to do. The cost of housing is driving young families out of the city. It's driving young people out of the city. It is making this into a city that is no longer one of opportunity, and it is not central to anyone else's agenda on this stage except for mine.
Oh.
The mayor has not had a deputy mayor of housing during a housing crisis for the last 2 years. The ED1 program has entitled 42,000 units, but only 14% of them are actually under construction. What we need to do is make sure that the city gets out of the way. Right now, on average, the city takes over 1.5 years to approve multifamily housing, apartments, exactly the kind of housing that we desperately need in order to bring prices down. Why is the city standing in the way? As mayor, I will take my executive authority over the departments and ensure that they respond to new apartment applications within 60 days if they are zoning compliant, so that we can build exactly the kind of housing that will make this into a city of opportunity again.
Ms. Raman, thank you. Mr. Pratt, you have 60 seconds.
She also mentioned me.
She did. I heard it.
See how nice they are being to each other?
She's a nice person.
That's good to know.
What's going on here?
Well, first of all, I disagree in terms of how much time it takes to go through the process. We have cut red tape so you can go through much quicker than that. The 42,000 units of housing that are being fast-tracked, 6,000 of those units are actively under construction, but there are definitely other factors that have weighed into that. And some of the factors are the price of construction materials, just the general economy, and we are doing everything we can to make sure that we are able to fast-track that housing. We want to see people move in right now, which is why we've come up with a variety of ways in addition to that.
Thank you very much. Mr. Pratt, are you ready?
I am. Thank you so much.
All right, you have a minute to respond.
Well, the good news is when I enforce the law and clear the street of the drug addicts that have taken over 40 blocks of downtown LA, abandoned buildings that have drug addicts just lighting them on fire every other day, I will have potentially 20,000 units available to build. And thankfully, I spent a lot of time in a town that has a lot of builders, and I see all the new 3D printing and the potential of how fast we can do it. And with this ED1 that Mayor Bass is talking about, I met with the developer this week, Carlos, and he said, yes, she did an initiative where she fast-tracked it 6 months. It's been 2.5 years, and he hasn't been able to get his permits. The best part is some of these developers that are taking all of our tax money are charging $750 a square foot for stuff that should be costing $250. And Councilwoman Raman, this plan that she's going to build all these units, guess what? She's going to sue all the people that actually rents to the tenants, and then they're not going to even want to rent to anybody because she wants people to squat in there for a year and not pay. So I don't know how her plan's going to work.
Councilmember Raman, you have 30 seconds to respond, and then Conan has a question that coincides with all of this. Please.
Great. I mean, I don't. I'm not sure how to respond to that vision of Los Angeles. This is a MAGA Republicans' idea of what Los Angeles looks like. This is really not the city that I love so much. We need to make this city so much better.
Yeah.
We have to work so hard to ensure that this city works for everyone who lives in it. And crucial to that is actually ensuring. I'm sorry, I was still speaking.
Continue, Council.
Okay.
Okay. So if you don't mind, the governor the other day expressed frustration, Mayor, with you. It appears the city has delayed the implementation of Senate Bill 79, that is high density along transit lines.
Yeah.
I know that you wanted him to veto that law. He didn't. I know, Councilwoman, you supported that law. Mr. Pratt, I'd like you to weigh in. I don't know if we need a minute for all of this, but can you just tell us, with regard to building transit, a lot of neighborhoods are concerned about this, high density up to 9 stories at transit lines. Why did you want to delay that, Mayor?
What, did I want to delay it?
Right.
Well, first of all, I don't support Sacramento saying that this is what we need to do here in Los Angeles, especially our city, where we are very much committed to building housing. And I feel, especially after all of the units that I talked about, we are on track to build housing. We need absolutely more housing built, but SB 79 basically says you can build it in any residential area, and I don't believe that that is necessary. In some areas, and I always talk about Sherman Oaks, they don't want their individual neighborhoods disrupted, but they are very open to building housing on their commercial strips. Councilwoman Harris Dawson is the perfect example where on Crenshaw Boulevard, you see hundreds of units being built, but the single-family homes are not disrupted. There's ways to do it. We are on our road to do it. We did not need Sacramento to tell us what to do and to mandate what we were doing.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilwoman?
Here's why SB 79 and other state laws keep coming down on us. Because the city of Los Angeles is not taking responsibility for the demand for housing. We are not building housing at the level that we need to address our housing shortage. And when we don't build that housing responsibly, when we don't take responsibility for it from the very top, including from this mayor who has pushed back against these state mandates, they come in and impose these mandates on us. Here's what I would do instead. Let's actually plan for the housing that we need. Let's build out the neighborhoods that we want to build. Let's make them beautiful. Let's actually solve for the kind of density and affordability that the state is asking us to do. We can do it if we plan for it. And as mayor, that's exactly what I would do. I would ensure that I would use the executive authority in the mayoralty to make sure that every department was planning for density in ways that Angelenos welcomed, so that Sacramento didn't have to intervene. In the absence of that, this is what happens.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll get to you. Mr. Pratt, it would seem to me you agree with the mayor on this topic, but I just want you to asking you about density development imposed by the state.
Yeah, to be clear, I just said I'm gonna have 40 blocks when I get rid of all the drug addicts that are sleeping on the sides of all these empty buildings. So we will have so much high density. I'll have so many bike lanes for mayor, or excuse me, Councilwoman Raman to have all her bike lanes. We're gonna have all that. We have plenty of places to build. We don't need to put a 7-story cement structure in a single family neighborhood with no parking. I actually lived the consequences of high density on small streets, and it's people can burn alive in an emergency or in an earthquake or any type of evacuation situation. Adding these high density buildings onto these teeny tiny streets doesn't make sense. Of course, I'm fine with building where they make sense. I love building. I think it's great. I think they should look a little better than what Councilwoman Raman wants, like prison-like boxes, but I think they should have some style. Not to mention the fact that Councilwoman Raman is fighting Mayor Bass on Sacramento, where she just was telling me, this is LA, this is LA. Where's her LA pride?
Mr. Pratt, listen, you can answer this next question because it relates to it. Downtown Los Angeles seems to be in a state of crisis. The high rises there, the office buildings are worth a fraction of what they used to be. That will impact the budget, by the way. You have a graffiti tower. You have a $500 million bridge, 6th Street Bridge, where somebody ripped out 38,000 feet of copper, so it's in the dark. You have restaurants, Kohl's at 6th and Main, Clifton's at Broadway and 8th, that survived the Depression, Prohibition, and World War II, but they can't survive the human feces outside their front door. They're closed. What is your plan for downtown? Can we afford to let it die? Ms. Raman, we'll start with you. Would you agree to bring city workers back full-time to the office in order to help some of the businesses?
I think we do definitely need to bring city and county workers back. In our office, we have people in the office 3 days a week in order to be able to address issues. There are some workers that should be in the office much more, and there's others that can be there 3 days a week, but absolutely. That is not the only intervention that downtown needs. And right now, the lack of care that's being demonstrated in downtown LA is part of our broken status quo. Downtown LA needs attention, and it needs real care. It needs more public safety officials on the streets. It needs work with businesses to ensure that businesses aren't just fleeing downtown LA, that they're actually staying there. It needs regular cleanups. It needs real maintenance. It needs a strategy. Instead, what Mayor Bass has done is to dismantle our economic development department. We don't have a strategy to keep businesses here in Los Angeles, and we're watching as they walk away from this city instead of investing in it. That's the kind of investment that I want to encourage people to make by actually investing in a real economic development strategy for LA.
Mr. Pratt, how do we solve this? Are you want to bring workers back into the city, full on? I mean, what's the solution for this problem? He mentioned a lot of problems. What's your plan?
Thank you, sir. Well, first off, I was just talking to my friend Rachel, who works in downtown LA. Downtown is so unsafe now that they have to serve the food. All the employees have to eat inside. They can't risk going out. That's why all these beautiful restaurants are closing, because it's so unsafe. So before we require city workers to go back into any buildings, we need to enforce the laws on the street. Councilwoman Raman is talking about safety, yet when animal rescue activist Rebecca Corey came in and said the dogs are being tortured and abused on the streets of downtown, she walked out of the hearing. She doesn't care about safety. She doesn't care about anything she's talking about. At least Mayor Bass pretends to care.
Mayor Bass, can we afford, and you've got a minute to answer this question, can we afford to let downtown LA die? As
No, we absolutely cannot afford.
But it's in a crisis situation at this point.
Absolutely.
It seems to be going the wrong way.
So let me just tell you that we absolutely cannot. Downtown is the center of our city, and it is an economic engine that absolutely needs to be attended to. We have a strategy that is working. We are working with the downtown business associations. We are increasing public safety there. That's why I did the adaptive reuse ordinance, which allows for the office buildings that are vacant to be converted into housing, and those conversions are taking place right now. That is why we have to deal with the street homelessness that is there. There needs to be massive intervention there. And then, of course, there is the convention center. And the convention center is a long-term investment that we have to make in our city, because the more people you have downtown, whether it's a convention or people coming downtown for concerts, is the way to make the city more safe and downtown more safe. And my number one obligation is to keep our city safe. So downtown is absolutely critical.
Thank you.
All right, moving to our Councilmember Raman, would you like to respond to that?
To
The
this,
mayor and what she's talking about there?
I mean, look, I feel like we're having a theoretical conversation here about the direction of our city, which is being led currently by our mayor. Our mayor is the CEO of the city. She sets the direction of this city. And if you are satisfied with the status quo, then I've got great news for you. The incumbent is on the ballot. What I'm here to say is that we need more urgency to respond to the issues right now. We need real plans. We need real efforts to make sure that we're keeping businesses here, that we're keeping workers here, that we're keeping residents in downtown LA. That is the strategy and effort that I want to bring to this role.
Councilmember Rock.
Councilwoman Raman endorsed Mayor Bass 2 weeks before she ran for election. 2 hours before the candidacy closed, she endorsed Mayor Bass. So all of a sudden now has all these problems with Mayor Bass. They do photos
Mr.
together.
Pratt. Thank you.
Mr. Pratt.
Oh, sorry.
We have so many more topics, and you know what? I know we're passionate. You're passionate about what we're talking about. But voters really want some concrete evidence here, and they want people to be direct.
But
So,
she referenced
moving
me.
along,
I need
Mayor,
to
I'm so
respond
sorry
to
to
that.
have to cut you
That's
off.
supposed to be part of the rules.
Yeah, go ahead.
I haven't been offered that in a lot of this debate. So
Well, I
the
think
rules
I'm
are-
joining you there. Absolutely, the status quo and breaking up the status quo and dealing with the bureaucracy is exactly why I ran. And I started doing that by addressing homelessness, but also by bringing coalitions together to make sure that we can deal with downtown. Did you know that we are the only major city that does not have a comprehensive infrastructure plan? So it's been haphazard up until now, left to the wishes of every single council member. I have instituted and started a comprehensive infrastructure plan
Thank you,
and
Mayor.
moving right away into replacing 60,000 solar lights.
Thank you.